Hi, I'm Leah, I'm a visual artist, and in the Matera Project, I'm sharing the process of creating drawings, paintings, and studies, like this one, inspired by my recent trip to Matera in Italy. That is a really old city, one of the oldest one in the world, that has these amazing buildings made of stones and also prehistorical caves. And I took a lot of photos. I was fascinated with this place, the energy of this place, and also the view of this place. So when I got back to my studio, I started working on them, and I'm sharing part of this process here on my channel. I hope you enjoy. In the previous video, I shared how I started this drawing. Here's a bit of that process, but if you'd like to know more, go watch the full video after this one. I sketched the city using my photo as reference, but I wasn't worried about copying it. And since there were buildings facing all directions, I wasn't too worried about perspective either. Some mistakes could be forgiven. I really enjoy working with fineliners, so I took my time. Sometimes I use continuous lines, other times dotted lines. This is the result of the first part of the drawing, which I'll continue in this video. Watch my previous video to see more about the sketch phase. Today I'm going to finish this drawing, or at least get really close to finishing. Maybe I'll need one more day. And I've selected some colors from my Faber-Castell box. This one, I love it, because I'm trying to select a palette of earthy tones, warm tones that I find are very appropriate for Matera as a subject. And I want to add color to the sky, just as I did in this sketchbook study. The color of the city is made of stone, but it's a light yellowish color, and I want the color of the city to be in the sky. So this is what I'm aiming for in this work, and I don't know if it will work out or not. I think it will. You will see in a minute. Before moving on to the drawing, I wanted to have the swatches on my sketchbook for future reference rather than on a loose sheet of paper. I used template rulers with preset sizes to create a grid for the swatches, so I didn't have to measure everything manually. They are really helpful. If there are too many eraser crumbs on my table, I use a small vacuum cleaner to pick them up. Polychromos pencils by Faber-Castell are oil-based with just a small amount of wax. They are very soft to use and the colors are beautiful and richly pigmented. People often ask me about my sharpener. It's a manual sharpener by Durant, and I really prefer using the crank handle, which lets me control the speed instead of an automatic sharpener. Still, sometimes I do get a broken tip, and when it gets stuck inside of the sharpening mechanism, I have to deassemble it and remove the broken piece with the help of a sharp object. I enjoy doing swatches. It's very meditative for me and I can spend a lot of time on it. Now that the swatches page is finished, I'll go back to the drawing. I just finished doing those swatches. I selected 20 colors from my Polychromos Faber-Castell box that has 120 colors. I selected 20 that I think are more appropriate for the Matera project. Some ochre yellows, some warm browns, a little bit of red but not too vibrant. An orange that is not too vibrant also, because Matera is a city made of stone. As you can see in this photo, the buildings are not painted, they are the color of the stone, but some stones are more yellowish, some of them are more pink, like this one. It has a little bit of red in it. Some of them are really gray because of the weather. So I think it was a good idea to have a selection of colors, a pre-selection of colors that I might pick from on the current work that I'm working on. I already know the colors I want to use, but maybe in the next drawing and the next painting, I will have this reference. So that's why I decided to put it in my sketchbook, so I can come back to this page anytime I need to select a color. Now back to the fineliners. For the mountains far in the back, I used Pointillism to shade them. Pointillism is really time-consuming. It's definitely not the fastest way to add tonal value to a drawing, but I enjoy doing it and I also love the final result. I use an intuitive approach to how I distribute the dots that might seem random to you, but I'm following a pattern in my mind and I'm always assessing where I should add more dots. Some of the plants and rocks needed to be darker, each with its own texture. Lately, I've been thinking about getting a tablet for my reference photos because usually I have the image printed like this one, and I like having it printed, but the problem is when I'm doing detailed work like this drawing and I have to zoom in the photo, the printed image won't do it. It doesn't have enough detail, although the printer is good. So what I used to do in the past is that I would use my phone to zoom in the image. I would have the same image printed and also on my phone. But now I have two phones and both of them are being used as camera. One is the main one, this one right here, and another one is my B cam. I've been using my computer on the side because my computer won't fit on the table, so it's here. And it's not the best position for me to draw because I'm drawing like this and then I have to move not even my face. I have to move all my body to my other table, my computer table, so I can zoom in and see the details that I need. In the sky, I wanted a very subtle gradient, so I knew I had to layer it slowly, making sure all the colors were blended well. Polychromos pencils are perfect for that, they blend well, but you still have to be patient and not press too hard against the paper. If you're patient enough, you progressively see a beautiful gradient appearing on your work. Right now I'm finishing coloring the sky, and I thought that it would be a good idea to talk a little bit about why Matera. I really enjoy the intricate nature of the city structure. So the way that you have all those buildings together and you can't really know where one house ends and another one begins. So sometimes the roof of a house is the veranda of the other. So I think this is very interesting. And all those narrow paths where you can walk through and get lost, I think this is really interesting. And it's something really different from all the places I lived. So I used to live in regular cities with straight streets and regular buildings, and this is something that I would see in storybooks in my childhood, like fairy tales. So for me, it's very magical to walk in paths like this. And also, at the same time, I really enjoyed the way that Matera was built in stone. You can see they are all stone buildings, but you're only seeing here the exterior part. There is also some part that is carved on the stone. So this place used to be mostly caves, and the exterior part was built later, and some caves are old enough, like from prehistory times. And so I think this is really interesting about this place. You think about those people, how they lived there, how was their regular life. Also, at the same time, I enjoy this view in particular. This is the reference photo for the drawing that I'm currently working on, because it's almost like you see where the city ends. So you have all this massive structure of buildings, and then you start to get just one building, and then you stop, and then you have only the mountains and the valley. And if you zoom in, you can see that there is things in the other side, but in my drawing I will only have the mountains, because I like this idea of having this city isolated in the middle of nature. I think this is very magical. So that's what I went for in my drawing. So in my drawing I have just the mountains. Also, another thing that I would like to tell you is that I find fascinating that you have all those houses. People used to live in those places, and then you have this amazing cathedral full of works of art in the middle of it. Look at this. This is an amazing architecture, a massive building in the middle of the houses. And some of those churches and buildings are very old. They have even churches that were carved on stone. So Matera is an amazing place. I recommend if you are in Europe. But of course, if you are in Europe, you are used to having those kind of cities where you have small houses and intricate cities and then a massive church. But for us in Brazil, this is very hard to find here, and for us it's always special. So that's it. I finished the drawing and I loved working on this piece. I loved both the process and also the result. Here it is. And I've used for the fine liner area mostly micron pens, especially number 003, 005, it's somewhere in here, 005, and also number 1. So those are the ones I used the most. When I wanted a line that was a little bit thinner than 003, I used a node, a dry 003, that still has some ink in it, but not enough to draw a perfect line. So it will fail a little bit, and this is exactly the effect I wanted. That's why I don't throw this away. For the sky, I wanted to have the colors of the city printed on the sky. So this is my idea since the second sketch on my sketchbook you saw in the previous video. I wanted to have the city in black and white. For some reason I had this image in my mind, and the colors of the city on the sky. So for this drawing I decided to create a gradient from ochre, yellow up until Venetian red. I used Faber-Castell Polychromos, mainly those warm colors right here, like yellow ochre. I have two different yellow ochres, and also sunshine, ochre, Venetian red. So those were the colors that I used most of the times. And I really enjoy creating gradients, building the layers very slow. So this part took me a lot of time. In the video you'll see just a little bit of it. Maybe I'll do a full process video sometime, and then you will see how long it takes, because I wanted the gradient to be very soft, very subtle, so you don't really see the lines of the pencil, of the colored pencils. You just see the gradient as if it was printed, but it's actually created using a lot of layers with a lot of patience. I think I'd like to compare this drawing with the previous drawing, the previous study in my sketchbook, so we can analyze a little bit of the differences. This was the second sketchbook study I did in my sketchbook, and in this work I worked mainly with black pencils, Nero from Cretacolor black pencils, and some oil pencils here, sunshine also. And I wanted, this was when I started with this idea that I wanted a black and white city with a warm sky. But in this one, my reference photo was very flat. You see here, we don't really have a lot of perspective. It's almost like all the building facades are at the same place. So this is a completely different feeling, in my opinion, from this one. This one is very dimensional, so you have this perspective, you have a vanishing point around here, and imaginary lines going all the way to this point, and also another vanishing point outside the paper. And here you can see the three-dimensionally of the city. I like this, but I also like the flat perspective. I like both. So I think I might be working with those two types of images on the next works. Another difference from this work to the drawing that we saw today is that here I worked with pencils. So to have these gray areas and this gradient inside the city, what I need to do is I need to add less pressure to the pencil, and when I want it darker I would use more pressure. While working with fine liners and pens, like in this case, I have only black and white. So I have the black of the ink or the white of the paper. So in this case, so to get like an idea of gradient or grace, I have to use hatching, cross hatching, or pointillism, these small dots, so I could have this illusion of gray areas. So this is mainly a black and white drawing, but from the distance you will see the shadows because of this illusion, this effect of mixing the black with the white. I think I like both ways of working. I like working with fine liners and having different values created by using cross-hatching and pointillism, but I also like working with pencils and having gray areas, adjusting the pressure of the paper. In this one, the sky, we have different colors from red to yellow. In this one, I only used only one pencil, but I used different pressure, so we have this gradient, as you can see. And I also enjoy both types of perspectives, the flat one and also the two-dimensional one. And one thing that I really like about working with detailed images like this is that I get to spend a lot of time with this drawing. So it took a lot of time to create this image. And if you enjoy the process, like me, this is not a problem. This is actually a pleasure because I can get in flow state and spend hours and hours drawing all the details of the city, also slowly layering the colors to create this gradient. And for me, this is part of the joy of creating art. It's not just having my image in the final result, but also enjoying the process of creating this image.